Hello, good evening, and welcome to Denver Water's Lead Reduction Program virtual community meeting. My name is Rachel. I'll be facilitating the event tonight. Before we jump into it, I'd like to invite our interpreter, Nicholas, on the line to invite any of our Spanish-speaking participants over to the Spanish event. Nicholas?
Gracias. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Mi nombre es Nicolás, seré su intérprete con Maite. Quiero agradecer a los organizadores de este evento por su compromiso con la justicia del lenguaje y del idioma. La justicia del idioma significa que todas las personas tienen derecho a hablar y ser escuchadas en el idioma de su corazón. Esta reunión va a ser interpretada en español y para acceder a esto pueden oprimir *0 si es que están en su celular. Welcome. I'll be your interpreter. My name is Nicholas, and I'll be interpreter with today with Maite. Thank you to the organizers of this event for their commitment on language justice. Language justice means that all the people have the right to speak and be heard in the language in their hearts. Therefore, this meeting will be simultaneously interpreted in English and Spanish. For the Spanish speakers, please press *0 to go to the Spanish session. And to the presenters, please be mindful that this meeting is being interpreted, so please keep everything in a conversational pace. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Nicholas. Now we can jump to the topics that we'll cover tonight. So we are excited to give you an overview of the entire lead reduction program and answer a lot of your questions as well. So we'll start with an overview of the program, background on the lead reduction program, and then we'll jump into a couple specific elements of the program where we are asking customers to take action, like using filters. We know there will be a lot of questions about the service line replacement process. So we want to get into those, and again, plenty of opportunities to take your questions. A couple guidelines on the meeting tonight, just to make sure everything flows smoothly. We will have a poll question coming up here in a moment where we would love to hear from you, get some information from you. We also will, again, have a couple opportunities for you to ask questions. If you are joining us over the phone, you can press *3 at any time to ask a question. If you're joining us online, you can use that comment box to put your question in the queue. If you are joining over the phone and you would like to join online, you can go to denverwater.org/lead, and you'll see a banner at the top of the page with a link that you can click to join the meeting online instead. We are going to try to get to as many questions as possible. And then we know there's so much with this program, and we're hoping to cover a lot tonight. We do have a lot more information on our website, again, denverwater.org/lead. We have done other meetings like this that are focused on a deep dive on filters, for instance, or a deep dive on the service line replacements and the construction process. And you can see recordings of all of those on the website as well. And it is, of course, not just me here tonight. We have a couple others who will be presenting and sharing some information, answering your questions. Ashley Denault, Community Relations Senior Specialist, and Julieta Quinones, Community Relations Senior Specialist. I'm lucky to have them here to help give us some information and answer your questions on the lead reduction program. So with that, let's go to our first poll question. Again, we really do want to hear from all of you. So our question, just to get a sense of who we have joining us, since this program does cover our entire service area, we'd like to know, where do you live? Where are you joining us from? So you would press 1 if you are from Denver, live in Denver. Press 2 for Sheridan, 3 for Wheat Ridge, 4 for another city that's served by Denver Water. You know you're a Denver Water customer, but you live elsewhere. Or press 5 for not a Denver Water customer. So again, just wanting a sense of who we have joining us tonight. So do you live in 1, Denver, 2, Sheridan, 3, Wheat Ridge, 4, another city but still a Denver Water customer, or 5, not a Denver Water customer. We can see these responses coming in real time, and it looks like most of you joining us tonight are Denver residents. We do have a few folks joining from Sheridan and Wheat Ridge, which we like. Again, we really want to reach our entire service area, so good to see we have a good representation from across the board. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to turn it over to Ashley to give an overview of Denver Water and background on the lead reduction program before we jump into more of the specific elements. And just as a reminder, if you're on your phone, you can press *3 to ask a question and get in the queue. You'll still be able to hear the meeting. Or if you're online, you can put your question in the comment box. With that, I will turn it over to you, Ashley.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So first, we want to make sure that people know the areas that we cover. The lead reduction program covers Denver Water service area. Our service area is the colored blue and green areas on the map here. We cover the city and county of Denver, as well as surrounding areas like Wheat Ridge, Littleton, and Lakewood. We do not cover Aurora or Inglewood. Now let's talk a little bit about what we mean about potential lead in drinking water. Lead is an easy to work with material that was used back in the 40s and before for many plumbing needs. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has shared that there is no safe amount of lead exposure. It can cause serious health problems at any age. There is no lead in the water that Denver Water, provides to homes and businesses. But how can lead get in water? Lead can get into the water from customer-owned pipes and plumbing that contain lead. The main source of this is the service line, or the pipe that runs from the water main in the street up to your home. If these service lines contain lead, lead can get into the water from the older service line. This is typically for properties built before 1951 in Denver Water service area. If you have concerns about lead in your health or the health of your family, please contact your doctor and also look up your local health agency or even the state for more information on lead. Denver Water's goal with the lead reduction program is to replace all these lead service lines at no cost to the customer. The program launched in 2020 and has oversight from the Environmental Protection Agency and the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. There are five main elements to this program. We'll talk more about several of these today, including managing water chemistry, or pH, building, maintaining a searchable database of service line material, providing water pitcher filters and replacement filters to all enrolled in the program, full replacement of lead service lines paid for by Denver Water, and promoting program understanding and filter use through communications, outreach, and education. If you are unsure if your property is part of the lead reduction program, we have a great tool you can use. Find out if you are in the program using the map at denverwater.org/lead. Just type in your address to search. And now I'll turn it over to Julieta to give an overview of how we identify lead service lines.
Thank you so much, Ashley. So as we can see here, you all hear me okay? Not sure if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. You're good.
Perfect, thank you. So as you can see here, because Denver Water doesn't own the service line, the information of what they're made of is very inconsistent and really scattered prior to the start of the program. We've really undertaken a huge effort to confirm the service line material, and we continue to investigate service lines to update our inventory. We have a toolbox of investigation methods to help really determine the service line materials. And this includes reviewing records about past construction or upgrades on the property. Also testing water for lead. Also an inside visual observation to see what the service line material looks like where it enters the home. And outside visual observation to see what the service line material looks like in the ground. One of these methods can confirm the presence of lead, although it will usually take multiple investigation methods to prove that lead is not in the service line. Completing a free water test kit is the most important step property owners can take to help identify the service line material. Now, Denver Water provides free water testing to check for lead for all customers in its service area. Customers can request a test kit at denverwater.org/lead test. Denver Water also sends test kits to customers as part of the lead reduction program. You might get a test kit in the mail because we're really asking you to collect water samples to help us confirm your service line's material. We also offer test kits a few months after the service line has been replaced to help confirm that lead levels have been reduced. Water tests can also help show if there is a lead in your interior plumbing and/or in faucets. The test kit includes why you received the kit and instructions, and these instructions on how to collect and return water samples for testing. You'll receive these results in the form of a letter in the mail. Also, please note if a water test from a property that might have a service line shows no lead, we'll have to do additional investigation to rule out the possibility of lead in the service line. We do outside visual observation of the service line in the ground to confirm the line material. This is also known as potholing. It really involves digging a small hole, like dinner plate size holes in the ground. And if we find lead while digging, we do not need to dig additional holes. If we do not find lead, we'll dig up 4 to small holes along the street and in the front yard. We will send a notification postcard before this works so you and the neighbors are aware of what's really going on. This typically does not involve street closures, although you may see no parking signs ahead of the work. And now I'll turn it over to Rachel for our first Q&A session.
Thanks, Julieta. I will first remind folks if they do have a question, they can press *3 if you're on the phone. And if you're online, you can put your question in the comment box. I think that was some great info, Julieta, because we do get people throughout the year who might see some of that potholing activity, for instance, out in the street and wonder what's going on. Is that the service line replacements? We do send notifications, postcards, mailers ahead of that work, but it can be confusing if you notice that activity in the street, wondering what that is. So again, just want to give folks an idea of what that potholing entails in case you do see that in your street next year or in the coming years. Likewise, we like to give folks a heads up that they might be receiving that water test kit in the mail from us. And we really, really encourage you to take those water samples, send them back to us. We do send back the results. Really good information for us to help plan our work. And then also great information to you to figure out what's going on at your property. It can also give you a sense if there might be lead in some of your internal plumbing. So just great reminders there as we continue to try to confirm the service line material for all of the properties that we think might have a lead service line and that are in the program. So we do have 1 or 2 questions that are included in the content we are about to jump into. So we'll go ahead and get into that we will have a couple more Q&A opportunities to answer your questions. We would love to hear questions, comments, thoughts that anybody joining has. So again, please press *3 if you're on the phone and you'd like to ask a question, or if you're joining online, you can put your question in the comment section. And again, we'll get to another question and answer section here in a little bit, but I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Ashley, since we now have that general background on what is the lead reduction program, what are we doing. Now's a chance to dive a little bit more into how water filters fit into the program. If you are in the program, you should have received one of these in the mail. We do get a lot of questions about this typically, so want to spend a few minutes talking about filters. So Ashley, can you give us that overview of how filters fit in the program?
Absolutely. Thanks, Rachel. So filters are an important part of the lead reduction program. They are a critical piece in helping us reduce the risk of lead in the water at home while we work to replace lead service lines. Since Denver Water kicked off the lead reduction program in 2020, we have distributed over 800,000 free water filters, including replacement filters, to customers enrolled in the program. We will continue to distribute these filters to all customers enrolled in the program until their lead service lines have been replaced. Pitchers and filters were delivered in the boxes shown on the slide. Inside of the box, you'll have seen this Brita pitcher and filter. Customers in the lead reduction program should use filtered water for drinking, cooking, and preparing infant formula. It is critical to use your water pitcher filter not only when drinking and preparing infant formula, but also when cooking, especially when preparing foods like rice, beans, and soup that absorb the water. Boiling water does not remove lead. So in addition to cooking, it is also important to use filtered water when making tea and coffee. Use filtered water until 6 months after your service line replacement. We know that things happen, things get lost in the mail, and things break. So if you need a replacement filter or pitcher, please let us know. There are a couple of ways that you can contact us. You can fill out the online filter form at denverwater.org/filter, or you can call us at 303-893-2444, or you can email at us at lead@denverwater.org. Filters are automatically sent to properties in the program, but there is a gap with rental properties because we don't always know when people are moving in or out. New residents should get a new filter picture so they can use the replacement filter cartridges we send out on a regular basis. Renters and landlords should let Denver Water know when people are moving in or out so we can get the new tenant what they need. A common question we're seeing come in is, my refrigerator has a water filter. Does it remove lead? And this one is kind of tricky. Honestly, the answer is maybe, but we can help you find out the answer. The important thing to know when determining if a filter removes lead is whether or not it is certified to NSF Standard 53. Filters certified to the standard are tested by the NSF to ensure that they remove lead. Pitcher filters distributed by Denver Water are certified to NSF 53. To check if your fridge filter meets the certification, you'll want to remove the filter. Then look for an NSF seal and the numbers 53. We have an example on the slide. Now that we've heard about filters, Julieta is going to tell us more about the actual service line replacement.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And as you can see, there's an estimated 64 to 84,000 lead service lines. Now, this range of estimated lead service lines is because we don't own the lines, so records of what they are made of have really been scattered and inconsistent. Well, through the lead reduction program, Denver Water is able to replace around 5,000 customer-owned lead service lines a year at no direct cost to the customer. The amount of replacements is increasing due to federal funding that we have received this year. We have replaced a little bit over 18,000 lines since the program started. And really, annual work planning focuses on underserved communities and those most vulnerable from lead exposure. Also factors in any other planned construction activities. You can see planned construction activity at denverwater.org/pipes, where you'll be able to see an interactive map. You'll also receive a packet in the mail before we come to your area. Like I mentioned, information on where Denver Water is working in 2023 and 2024 is displayed on an interactive map that's featured on our website. Customers can enter in their address, and the map will show the work status and name of the contractor, as well as relevant dates that are available. You can find this map on denverwater.org and searching for pipe replacement, or by visiting denverwater.org/pipes directly as well. And now we want to walk you through step by step what to expect leading up to the construction and how you will ultimately schedule the service line replacement. So step one is some properties will receive a postcard that lets them know they'll be getting a water test kit in the mail. Now, step two, if we need you to complete a water test kit, we'll send you the kit a couple of weeks after the postcard. Now, it's important to note that not all customers will receive a lead test kit, only for single-family residencies due to the nature of the sampling collection. Step three, when we identify your property for upcoming replacement, we'll mail a packet that includes a booklet overviewing the service line replacement process and a consent form. That consent form is really important as Denver Water needs a consent form signed by the property owner to do the replacement. Again, that consent form is really, really important. Step four, we will be tracking you down to try to get the consent form signed. Expect at least one reminder email or mailing. You may also have the construction team knock on your door or email you or call you if we haven't gotten your consent form back. Step five, once you sign the consent form, the construction team will reach out to schedule an in-home consultation to talk about the replacement and any details specific to your property. And finally, step six, after the in-home consultation, it'll be time to really schedule the replacement with your construction team. Now, leading up to construction, you'll also be invited to a virtual community meeting that's really focused just on the construction process to learn more. You can see past recordings of those meetings at denverwater.org/lead. All right, so now we're going to go over what you need to do and to know if you're a renter or a landlord. So renters, check if you're in the program. If so, make sure you have a free water filter from Denver Water, like the one that Ashley just showed us. If we send you a water test kit, please collect and return those samples. If you get a consent form in the mail, make sure your landlord is aware and knows the property owner needs to sign it and return. Now, landlords, make sure tenants at properties in the program have their free water filter from Denver Water. Make sure that tenants know they should collect and return water samples if they get a test kit in the mail. And return signed consent form as soon as possible if you get one in the mail. And now I'll turn it over to Rachel for another Q&A session.
Great. Thanks, Julieta. I actually am going to go right back to you with a question from someone joining us online, wondering when will my neighborhood be next? So of course, this is the number one question, right? When are you coming to me to do my service line replacement? So maybe you can talk us through what those resources are and how folks in the community can find out if they are in the queue for construction, and then maybe just do that refresh on how we plan that work on an annual basis.
Yes, of course. It's a very good question. And like you mentioned, Rachel, is one of the most common ones. We plan out where we're going to be year by year. But if customers are needing to know when we're going to be in their neighborhood, if we're going to be in their neighborhood that year, they could go to denverwater.org/lead. There you would find an interactive map where you can put in your address and it's going to let you know if you're part of the program. Now, if you are going to be getting your line replaced this year or in the upcoming months, you will be getting all those notifications that I talked about earlier. You're going to be getting a mailer in the mail, and then you will also be probably getting a visit from one of our construction crews to really let you know when that we're going to be there and that we need your consent form. Do you have anything to add, Rachel?
No, I think that's great information, Julieta. And again, we do that work planning on an annual basis because we are really taking into account information that is changing each year, how we're gathering information about service line material, where those service lines are, coordinating with other construction activity across the city, as well as taking considerations around equity into our planning approach. So again, that map at denverwater.org/pipes has the 2023 work areas on it. It should soon have the 2024 areas. And again, you'll get invited if you are in the queue for an upcoming service line replacement. You'll get a whole packet in the mail from us, and then also invited to a virtual community meeting like this one that goes deeper into that construction process. So good information there. I have another question that I'm going to come to Ashley to give us an answer. Another online participant, Margaret's wondering if it is safe to use the water in my vegetable garden. So wrapping up the gardening season here, but great question and good information. So Ashley, I will turn it over to you.
Absolutely. That is a great question. The answer is yes, it is safe to water your vegetables with the water that comes from your tap, even if you do have a lead service line. This is because because vegetables are pretty amazing and they have an ability to filter lead and other contaminants out of the soil through their roots. Anything is that, or if Rachel, you have anything else you want to add, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, no, thanks, Ashley. Straight and to the point. Another question, we've got an online question from Diana asking about the inventory map we talked about earlier, where you can go and put in your address to see if you are in the lead reduction program. And Diana's mentioning that the Leadline website does not work for my address. So a couple things there. First of all, Diana, if you would like to put your address for us in the online chat box, we can look into it after the call. Another quick note, that inventory map at denverwater.org/lead is really looking at our service area. So if you are by chance outside of the Denver Water service area, you would not be included on that map. However, if you know that you're in the Denver Water service area, you can put your message and your address in the online chat here, and we can look into it. You can also, if anybody does have issues using that online map or wants to find out a little bit more, you can reach out to our customer care team at 303-893-2444. or email us at lead@denverwater.org. And we can definitely look into. Our customer care team has all of the information about specific properties at their fingertips, so they can really dive into that with you. Another question we've got from online from Mary, wondering about, so we've been talking about the service line, but what about if the pipes inside the house are lead or steel corroded pipes? So really, what about your interior plumbing? So great question. A couple things there. Again, we are really focused on that outside service line that connects that main and the street up to the home. And the reason we're really focused on that is that our studies and research have really shown that here in our area, that primary source of potential lead in the drinking water is from the service line. So that's really where we're focusing for the program. If you are concerned about your interior plumbing, because again, at one point in time, lead was the industry standard, very commonly used, you can take that water quality test kit. You can request one again at denverwater.org/lead test, and that will help give you a sense of if you might have lead in some of your interior plumbing or even in your faucets and fixtures. If that is the case for you, there are a couple immediate things that you can do to help minimize your risk, such as using cold water. When you're taking any water from the tap, you can continue to use a water filter. Also, just the quick note there that I believe Ashley mentioned, boiling water does not remove lead, so please keep that in mind. You can also do something called flushing your water, which is where if you haven't used water in the house for several hours, maybe first thing in the morning or when you're getting back from work or school, you just run the faucet for a couple minutes to let any of that water that's been sitting in there flush out. And another thing to mention there, be thinking about if you've been cleaning your faucet aerators. We have some more information about that on our website. Those are the little screens that are at the ends of the faucets that you can take off and clean. There can be sediment, other stuff that accumulates there. So that can be another thing that you can do to help address any interior plumbing issues. We don't find that to be the case as often. Again, the service line is where we most often see that presence of lead and that potential for lead to get in the drinking water. But great information if you are concerned about your interior plumbing. We also, in addition to being able to take that water test at any time, we also offer those water tests again about 6 months after your service line replacement. So you can test your water again, see if there's any difference there after that service line has been replaced. But we recommend waiting about 6 months until after that replacement, or 4 to 6 months before doing that water test. So I'm going to jump to a couple more questions here. This next one, I'm going to come to you, Julieta. We've got another online question asking if you can bathe in the water. If you are at a home that's in the lead reduction program, you might have a lead service line. Can you bathe or shower in the water?
Thank you, Rachel. And yes, that's a very good question. So you can bathe in the water. It's been shown that human skin does not absorb lead as they're taking a shower. So it's totally safe to bathe in water if we're contaminated with lead.
Great, thanks, Julieta. Another question online about, sounds like someone may have signed their consent form for the service line replacement a few months ago, but never heard back. How come? So great question. So there could be a couple things. First, we mail those consent forms out pretty far in advance of the work taking place. We need to gather consent from each property owner to be able to move forward with the work. So we do know those get out to folks often well in advance. It does take time to get all of those signed consent forms collected, data back in our system before we can really then go to the next step with the work. If we do have your consent form, please rest assured we've got that in our system, and it can just take several months before we circle back to activity on the street. You will get notification from us before that activity starts, working with our construction teams on that replacement process. So again, we know it can require a little patience, but we have your information in our system and we'll be circling back around with you once that construction activity is in touch. We haven't experienced any major construction delays this year. So if that is the case and you've gotten your consent form back to us, it is likely that it's just a few months in advance of the work taking place. And again, that process will look like us reaching out to schedule the in-home consultation where our construction teams will walk through the service line replacement process with you, talk about any concerns you have, any questions specific to your property, and then from there you can get the replacement scheduled. Kind of gone through our questions at this time, have a few more minutes, and wondering if Julieta, you can give us a little bit of information about some of our community partners and the work that they are doing on our behalf. You might see, if you're out in the community, holiday events that are coming up, you might notice some folks out there with some Denver Water and lead reduction program information. So wanting to give Julieta a chance to tell us about our great partnerships.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So a big component of this program, it's the communications, outreach, and education element of the program. We really wouldn't be able to be successful without the support of the community and our community partners. Like Rachel mentioned, you may see us or our partners out and about in the community. We've partnered with a number of local organizations to help us reach more customers and more communities. We do have additional language support. The entire program, meaning all of our mailers or community meetings like this one and our website, are provided in English and in Spanish. And we do have materials and interpreters available in other languages if support is needed. So once again, thanks to all the community, to all of our community partners for the great work that they have done on behalf of Denver Water.
Great. Thanks, Julieta. So wrapping up here for the evening, thank you so much for joining us. We do want to leave you with resources. I know we've mentioned a lot of different websites and links tonight. So again, denverwater.org/lead is the one-stop shop for all of our program resources. You can find meeting recordings from our previous meetings like this one. Again, we have some that are focused on filters, some focused on construction. So we really encourage you to check those out. That's also where you can find that inventory map to check if you are in the program. We have also built out our entire website in Spanish at denverwater.org/plomo. If that is of use to anyone or anybody you know, friends or neighbors, you can sign up for news updates at denverwater.org/tap, not just lead reduction program, but all things Denver Water. And again, if you have any questions about your specific property, something you received in the mail, something you think you should have received in the mail but didn't, the map isn't working for you, really just wanting to know about what's going on at your address, please reach out to us. You can get in touch with our customer care team at 303-893-2444, or you can email us at lead@denverwater.org. And we will be doing more of these meetings next year, so this is not the last opportunity to hear more about the program, and really just encourage folks to reach out to us if you have any questions as we move forward. So that is it for tonight. Thanks again so much for joining us. We hope this was some helpful information for you, and please have a wonderful evening.